Welcome back, Love Nation. This is Nina. Make sure you guys like, share, and subscribe. Thank you to everybody that has been coming to my channel. Make sure you like this video, share this video, and hit that notification bell so you guys know when I drop my next one. We are now on chapter 12 as we are beginning to end this document. There are only a few pages left, and we're just going to get started. Again, this is chapter 12. Share your comments below. Next section, 16th cause of action, aiding, abetting, inducing traffic venture in violation of the Traffic Victims Protection Act, United States Code 18, 1590, and 1595. Plaintiffs against all defendants. Plaintiffs incorporate by reference and reallege each of the proceedings, paragraphs, and all paragraphs below, as though fully set forth and brought in cause of action. Defendants directly committed and perpetrated violations of Chapter 77, Title 18 U.S. Code, including 18 U.S.C. 1590, by aiding and abetting and inducing the traffic venture of plaintiffs. Defendants themselves directly violated Chapter 77 by committing and perpetrating said violations. Among other things, defendants aided and abetted and induced defendant Diddy's venture of plaintiffs Ashley P. and John Doe, knowing that defendant Diddy would use means of force, threats of force, fraud, coercion, and a combination of such means to cause plaintiffs to engage in non-consensual adult acts. By aiding and abetting and inducing defendant Diddy S.A. venture of plaintiffs Ashley P. and John Doe, defendants benefited both financially and by receiving things of value from participating in Diddy's abuse and cover-up. Defendants had actual knowledge that they were aiding and abetting and inducing defendant Diddy and his co-conspirators' conspiracy to solicit, entice, coerce, harbor, transport, obtain, and provide plaintiff into a non-consensual act through the means of force, threats of force, fraud, abuse of process, and coercion. Defendants knew and should have known that defendant Diddy had engaged of said acts of violation. Defendants, knowing and intentional conduct, aiding and abetting, and inducing defendant Diddy's violations has caused plaintiff serious harm, including without limitation, physical, psychological, emotional, financial, and reputational harm. Through their unchecked support of defendant's aid, abetting, and inducing defendant Diddy's violation and caused harm that is sufficiently serious under all surrounding circumstances to compel a reasonable person of the same background and in the same circumstance to perform or to continue performing non-consensual said acts in order to avoid incurring additional harm. Defendant's criminal conduct in said acts was outrageous and intentional because it was in a deliberate furtherance of a widespread and dangerous Diddy cover-up. Defendant's criminal conduct has also evinced a high degree of immoral turpitude and demonstrated such wanton dishonesty as to imply a criminal indifference to civil obligations. Defendant's criminal conduct was directed specifically at plaintiffs who were the victims of Diddy's cover-up. Defendant's outrageous and intentional conduct in this case is part of a pattern and practice of defendants by profiting by undertaking illegal high-risk, high-reward partnerships. By virtue of these knowing and intentional violations of the U.S.C. Code, defendants are liable to plaintiffs for the damage they sustained and reasonable attorney's fees by virtue of said intentional outrageous violations of the act listed. Defendants are liable to plaintiffs for punitive damage. Next section, 17, cause of action, knowing beneficiary in a traffic venture in violation of Traffic Victims Protection Act, USC 18, sections 15, 90, and 95. Plaintiffs against all defendants. Plaintiffs incorporate by reference and reallege each of the proceedings paragraphs and all paragraphs below as though fully set forth and brought in cause of action. Upon information and belief, defendants knowingly and intentionally benefited financially and by receiving things of value from participating in, assisting, supporting, and facilitating said coercive acts and affecting interstate and foreign commerce together and with others in violation of said U.S. Code. Defendants took many concrete steps to aid and participate in Diddy's cover-up. Among the concrete steps that defendant took to aid Diddy was providing victims to defendant Diddy, like plaintiffs, as well as security, a getaway driver, a private location to engage in said debunkeries, and pharmaceuticals used to weaken plaintiffs' defenses, making SA venture possible. Upon information and belief, defendant's role and actions provided were necessary for defendant Diddy to force plaintiffs to engage in non-consensual acts. The financing of defendants in the Diddy, SA, and cover-up directly formed part of the commercial nature of said acts. Defendants thusly actively participated in the recruitment of victims of the venture. Defendants knew or should have known that they were feeding defendant Diddy's deviancy. Upon information and belief, defendants received financial benefits from Diddy and his venture, most notably a new car for defendant Shane and cash payments to defendants KK, Brandy, Pelletier, Gonzalez, Valdez, Odell, Druski, and John Doe's. Defendants knew that it would gain far from routine financial benefits by participating in Diddy's venture. By virtue of these knowing and intentional violations of said U.S. codes, defendants are liable for plaintiffs for damages they sustained and reasonable attorney costs. Now, right here, this amendment is kind of going back over what we already read. Again, is reinforcing what we already read, so I am going to just skip this. And then right here, it is mentioning that the same office that this was filed in did indict Jeffrey Epstein's co-conspirator, Ghislaine Maxwell, for her role in what was alleged against Epstein. And then again, it is reiterating this. If you guys want to read this because this is redundant, just go ahead and pause the video. So I'm going to scroll through this slowly because again, this is going back over what we already discussed. It is just naming more suits for the lawsuit. But again, all of the language is pretty much the same as we have been reading in this video and in previous videos. So I'm not going to keep rereading this. This is the 19th cause of action, the false imprisonment, which is basically alleging that they were held against their will. And it was a case of deliberate malice. And again, to feed Diddy's alleged need for what he was doing to these alleged victims. And by taking all of their clothes, phones, purses, keys, cell phones, confiscating them to prevent them from leaving the premises, as well as, again, putting Shane, Odell, Druski, and John Doe in here. And then they are discussing down here about the malice. Again, and a lot of this language is language we've already read. I just want to show you guys this full document. And as we get down to the end, which will actually end the reading of this document, This is the request for relief and the demand for jury trial. And it is dated March 7th, 2025, respectfully submitted by Ashley Pease and the John and Jane Doe lawyers. So that is actually the very bottom of the documents. I just wanted to make sure I got all the way down there for you guys. So this is actually the end of the reading. We got through all of it. And I will definitely be following this and any other updates in this Diddy case. There is a lot of moving parts with this. There's actually even more legal documents because more people are suing him. But this is probably one of the first times that more celebrities are actually being brought into the lawsuit by name. So this is why I wanted to go ahead and get through this document to show you guys what exactly was going on with these celebrities. Now, if anything else pertinent comes out, I will definitely be coming back to make a video. This will end chapter 12 and the end of the reading of this lawsuit. We have more videos coming this week. Make sure you guys like, share, and subscribe so you guys can know when we are dropping. We have several more lawsuits and other cases that we have to try to make videos for. Leave your comments below respectfully. If there's anything you guys want me to touch on, I will be definitely going back discussing the Blake Lively, Justin B situation with the In With Us movie lawsuit. Again, like, share, subscribe, you guys. Till next time, be safe and enjoy your day. Bye, guys.